What's good, y'all? What is going on? Welcome back to my channel. Live Simply, Live Well. It's your girl, Marie here. Now, for the last 30 minutes, I've been futzing and farting around trying to get good lighting to do this video. I'm in my bathroom, and let's just pray that the lighting is good. By the title, you can see that I'm going to be sharing 10 things that may be surprising to all of y'all. In fact, some of the things on this list here, I haven't really shared with too many people. I think there probably was a little bit of like shame around it or embarrassment around it. But you know what? Life is life, and I'm here just to bring the real, hoping that what I share will not make you feel bad or shame or blame yourself, that you're not the only one that's going through your situation, and hopefully there's something in there that you can take away and, you know, move forward in life with. So I'm going to be doing my makeup while I chit chat, because I didn't want to just be sitting and talking. I thought let's just do something different. So I'm going to try to do like I don't know if it's my version of a latte look, which is pretty much a neutral look. There's a new lip color combo that I've been kind of feeling the vibes on. So I'm going to just talk and do my makeup, and let's just see where it goes. So first thing I'm going to do, I've already put my sunscreen on, because yes, you should be wearing sunscreen. And I know some people came for me in the comments mildly about the sunscreen, the importance of it. And I wasn't really wearing any because I feel like a lot of them out on the market have chemicals in it which are not good for you, which makes me wonder, is that what is causing skin cancer? But that's just my humble opinion. Always do your due diligence. But the one that I'm using is this one by Sky and Soul. They so kindly sent this over to me. It's got SPF of 50 in it, which is fantastic. It's also made with edible ingredients, tallow, non-nano zinc oxide, which means you're not going to get the white cast, which is also a deterrent for us melanin ladies to not want to wear sunscreen, jojoba, beeswax, and propolis. So that's what I'm using or have used. I'm also going to apologize now for any noise that might occur during this video, due to my neighbors who like to chit chat in the hallway. So first thing I'm going to do is put on my foundation. This one is by Makeup Forever. This is the clean one that I found recently, HD Skin, in the color 4N68, N being neutral. So I'm just gonna hard to coordinate myself and do this and brush it on. So, in talking about 10 things you might be surprised about me, the first one was I've been broke, y'all. Broke. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, well, I've been broke too, I've been broke. But it's been multiple times. To the point where I was nearly evicted from a place that I was living in. Maybe about 10 years ago now. Now, I came home one day to one of those letters from the sheriff's office saying, like, within 30 days, you know, they're going to change the locks on your apartment. And the reason I got to that place, if you're wondering, because trust and believe, like, maybe on the outside, you know, what you're seeing now, my life looks good and everything. I'm sharing this with you because I feel like there's a lot of creators out there that only show the glamorous side of, you know, the fun side of, you know, their lives, and it's not always like that behind the scenes. So I want to just share with you, as a woman who's 56, turning 57 this year, you know, some of the things that I've been through in life. I'm still here, still standing. We are in a much better place. And I got to that place of damn near being evicted, nearly, because I was trying to grow my business, my personal styling and organizing business. I started my business as a professional organizer, meaning that I organized spaces, not events. When I was terminated from a job, I was on EI. I got into this business program sponsored by the government. They'd pay you $1,500 a month, and you would go through training basically on learning how to start and run your business. I chose professional organizing. It was just something that was very, I don't want to say not normal, what's the word I'm looking for? Natural to me. Organizing spaces, I can walk into somebody's home and my wheels start turning. Move this over here, you need to organize this, get rid of that. Like, that's the kind of mind that I have. And so I was trying to grow that business and it was not growing. And I had a part-time job. Where was I working? Crate and Barrel and then CB2. And trying to grow my business. But obviously when you've got rent and bills and you're only working part-time, you're not making enough money. And I fell behind in my rent, you know, more than once, probably more than twice. And I'd get a notice, you got to catch up or else. And I always caught up. But I think this last time was just like, girl, you need to get out. I also think one of the reasons they wanted me out was because I lived on the 14th floor and I was west facing and I had a pretty good view. And I think they wanted me out so that they could jack up the rent. That is foundation done. I'm now going to do concealer. I'm using the Beauty Counter one. Beauty Counter has now closed their doors until the summer when they relaunch. But Ilia, the brand Ilia, they make like a pretty comparable concealer. So I'm just dabbing that under my eyes, a little bit out on the corner, a little bit in this area here, a little bit down the nose, and a little bit over here around the nose. So yes, I had to cash in some money and I had to move out and I ended up moving in with a friend. So I wasn't truly evicted. I just had to move out basically. So I say all that to say because a lot of you out there might be trying to grow a business and it can be difficult, especially in the beginning, to get clients. And if you are a single income household or you're doing it on your own, you don't have a partner, a husband, or you're not living at home or anything like that, it can be a lot more challenging because the finances aren't always there. And I know some of y'all might be thinking, girl, why didn't you just get a full-time job? Get a full-time job, girl. But I think back then I was in that mindset of I felt like I would be failing. Just blending it out with this brush that I got from a dollar store in Paris, that I'd be failing if I had to get a full-time job. I think probably part of me also felt like I wouldn't have the time. If I'm working full-time, I'm not going to have the time to focus on a business, especially one that's not even established yet. Hindsight, I should have gotten a full-time job. I was a little stubborn back then. And it ended up costing me my apartment. And so from there, I moved into a roommate situation with the girl that I used to work with and lived there for nearly 5 years. And the lesson in that is you really don't know somebody until you live with them. I mean, we were friends. We weren't even strangers. Not like we hung out all the time. I shouldn't say we were friends. We were like work friends. You know, we used to have fun at work and everything. She reached out to me at the time where I was needing to vacate my place, said she was looking for a roommate. And first I said no because I saw the place and I was just like, I'm not really feeling the vibes, Then when I got the notice from the sheriff's office, I'm like, is that room still available? So I did that. So just a note to self, if you are coming up, you know, or find yourself in a pickle, make sure whoever you are going to take up space with, like you really get to know them and you really ask all the questions. I was in my mid 40s and at that age I thought, well, I don't really need to like, you know, we're adults. You just be respectful, you know, give notice about certain things. If you're going to have company over overnight or whatever, you know, you just be respectful. You clean up after yourself, you know, all that kind of stuff. You just be respectful. Yeah. So that was a 5-year thing that just really, it was stressful. It was uncomfortable. I really didn't feel like I could bring anybody over because I did one time have an overnight guest and that all blew up. We were going in with our bronzer. This is the Oceanly one from the brand Attitude. just going over along the perimeter of my forehead, onto my cheekbones, and along my jawline. Okay. So yes, make sure you know who you are, moving in with. People say don't live with your friends. We weren't tight like that, but just make sure. Another thing that you might be surprised to know about me is, yes, in my broke days, twice in my life, I had to go on social assistance. I was probably actually once when I was with the roommate, and then once when I was in my 20s. Now, when I say twice, I mean I only received 2 checks, one in each period. It wasn't like I was on it for months at a time, weeks at a time. It was just twice. I had no money. I had to do what I needed to do to put some money in my pocket. So no shame, we keeping it real here. And, sometimes in life we got to do things that might be a little embarrassing. But I mean, if that's your only means of survival without compromising your integrity or feeling like you can't really go to somebody, like family or friend, because you might feel a little embarrassed, the fact that you need to borrow some money, then, that's what you do. So yeah, social assistance twice. And during my broke days, it was so bad that there were times where I'm like, what am I going to eat today? How am I going to feed myself until my next little bit of money comes in? So badly that I remember one time, and this was in the roommate situation, that all I had to eat was, oh, by the way, I'm just using this kind of blending contour brush. All I had to eat was some spaghetti noodles with, I didn't even have any olive oil. I think it was just salt and pepper. That's it. I had no sauce, no butter, no olive oil, no nothing to make it nice. No vegetables, nothing to add to it. Yes. That's how broke I was. That's what life was like 10 years ago. Probably even a little less than that. Just blending this out. So we don't have any harsh lines. It's definitely difficult. Challenging trying to do your makeup and talk. So yes. And when I talked about another thing about being terminated, fired twice in my life, this has happened. Once back in 2007 when I left my job because the commute was too much and it would just take me too long to get home and I needed a change. I knew I wasn't going to build a career at this company. So I took a pay cut and got in with a company that was a young company. They maybe been around for a couple of years. They were on the rise. And I thought, hey, getting in on the ground floor when a company is, growing, this could be a good thing. But one thing about me is when I work for a company, training is very important to me. I'm somebody who likes to train people. My mom used to be a teacher, God rest her soul. But I'm somebody who likes to train people, especially in a big corporation or big corporate company, because I feel like my training can help you, could give you the foundation in order to move up. I love doing it. Not everybody likes doing it. Not everybody is good at it, but I really enjoy it, So I took this pay cut, took this job, and then almost about 3 months in, I got terminated. Probably about 1 month in, I realized this was not the job for me. When you are in the bathroom crying in tears because you're so frustrated and stressed out because you feel like you still don't know the job, because the person who had the position before you kind of was just like, and here's your training and go, because they didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah, you need to set people up properly when, when they're starting a job. You need to like really make sure they know what they're doing. And I just felt like it was just like, I just got thrown into it. And for me, I don't work well in that way. I don't thrive in that type of situation. Okay, contour is on. We'll probably touch that up a little bit later. Next, I'm going to powder, actually. I'm still using the Beauty Counter's mattifying powder. No color to it, translucent. I just dump a little bit in the lid. And I make sure that I clean out, make sure there's no product in the creases. When I say no product, like your concealer isn't creasing before you powder, or else your powder will crease. And I'm just using this big fluffy old MAC brush. I like it because it's pointed and it can really just get into the small areas. So again, cleaning out. And giving a little powder under the eye. Powder around the nose where I had concealer there. And just up on the forehead. Pretty much everywhere I had concealer. Okay. So yes, terminated from there, and I went on EI, and then I was terminated from my last job in about 3.5 years ago before I started with this company I'm at now. But the lesson in that is, in my humble opinion, is that when you get fired or terminated, when something happens that's not of your own doing, I didn't quit. I really feel like that's the universe at play. That is God's protection, redirection, opening you up, removing you from a situation so that the universe can bring you something better. So if that happens to you in any situation, whether you end up in a breakup after 5 years, you get fired from your job, you apply for your dream apartment and you don't get it, you apply for your dream job and you don't get it, just know that the universe is working on your behalf and that there's something better coming along. So celebrate that instead of being disenchanted or discouraged. There's always something better. There's always a good reason. You might not know what it is in the moment, but there's always a good reason why things don't work out in your favor as you would like them to or thought they would. Okay, I'm taking my Makeup by Mario brow gel. This is just a clear one to brush up the very thin eyebrows that I have, as you can see. Yes, thank you, menopause. Thank you very much. I'm applying it actually before I fill in my brows, brushing my brows down first and then sweeping them up. And when I tell you your brows stay in place, this stuff is the jam, the gel. I even put it out on the areas where there's not a lot of hair because that's where I'm going to fill in my brows. And that's it. Gonna let that dry down. Just realized I didn't put any concealer on my eyelids because I'm too busy talking. What else that you might be surprised about? I went to fashion design school. When I graduated from high school in 1986, I went to fashion design school. I've always grown up as a creative person, doing creative things, dance, like performing arts, that sort of thing, and always loved fashion. I think I got that from my mom. She was always, a pretty stylish person. She used to have her clothes made. We lived in a small town in northern British Columbia, and she would go to the fabric shop and buy fabric and have somebody make her clothes, her dresses, mainly dresses. In fact, I still have the dress that she wore for her wedding. She had made. It's totally not a typical wedding dress when you would see it, but that's what she got married in, and I'm keeping that for the day, not to wear on my wedding day, but perhaps for my rehearsal dinner, just to have her, like, to feel like she's a part of everything. She passed away in 2001. So yeah, that would be a way for me to, honor her. But yeah, went to fashion design school, and before I graduated, I knew, no, this is not this is not the career for me. Just no. It was the pattern drafting and the grading of patterns where I was like, no, can't do this. But I will say that what I learned in class has definitely been a benefit throughout my adult life. I'm just taking the same fluffy brush and powdering down the concealer, just so we have kind of like a base for the eyeshadow, because I haven't found a clean eyeshadow primer yet. Okay, so yes, that's right. With that, I would say the lesson in that would be to really do your due diligence, because back then I think it cost $5,000, my 10-month course, I think it was, and you certainly don't want to be wasting money, and I didn't pay for it too. My stepdad paid for my design school. So really due diligence, because I feel like there's a lot of people that, register or sign up to go to university, and my course was only like 10. It was like a diploma course, and it was just 10 months. But those people that go to school for years on end, they graduate, and then one, trying to find a job is one thing, but then two, after being maybe in your career for like 2 or 3 years or so, you might come to realize that, like, no, not feeling this, don't like this, don't like the late hours, just certain aspects about it that you didn't know, going into it, that you would have to endure. So I would definitely, talk to people who are in the profession that you're considering, and really just think about it. How's it going to change your lifestyle? Is it going to affect you on a mental, emotional, physical level? Like, do all of that first. I just knew that fashion design was not the thing for me. Like, maybe let me design the pieces itself, but like cutting it, sewing it, and doing all that jazz, no. So I'm going to just contour my nose a little bit. This is the other end of this contour brush, just a little skinny thing. Just picked this up recently. And I try to contour up more towards the center of my nose, up into my brow, like upper eye area. It's the cheapest nose job you'll ever get. Next on my list of things that you might be surprised to know about me, I used to host a radio show for 8 years. It was a music program, 3 hours long. It was on one of our university campuses, and I never had any aspirations to work in broadcasting, radio broadcasting, not even really television broadcasting at that time, but I loved music. Grew up listening to music. Mom used to play music every morning, every Saturday morning when she was cleaning the house. In high school, I played the flute, I played the drums. Just always loved music. Music, honestly, was the thing that got me through the pandemic. Thank you, Spotify, because that's the best subscription and only subscription that I have. And I've found so much good and great. I'm a house head. I'm a house music head. Found so much great music through it. So music is life, really and truly. Yeah, It was a music program. I was the host. My friend was the DJ, and the show had actually been on the air for like probably about 25 years. I came in the last 8 years of the show, and it really was, we'd play like house music for the first hour and a half, and then the remainder of the show we would do like maybe old school R&B or soul music, roller skating jams. And during the last half of the show was when I would interview any up and coming artists, anybody that had an event coming up, and they wanted to come down and promote it. I would chit chat with them. I did some international artist interviews as well. But listen, this is a whole lesson in like, I didn't have any experience. I'd never hosted anything in my life. But the host before me had just up and quit, no notice, no nothing. And one day I just called my friend Carl, who was the DJ of the show, who'd been there from the beginning, and I was like, hey, like, do you think I could host the show? Lord knows what made me do that. But yeah, first time I got on the mic to do all the announcements, I was like a little nervous. But it's one of those things where the more you do it, the more comfortable, the better you get at it. So that's the lesson in that. Also, like my very first interview was like a big house music artist, Byron Stingley from the group 10 City. Like, if you're a house head, you know who Byron Stingley is. You can look him up, 10 City. And all I did was just, remember all the things about interviewing, the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, and why, and try to ask open-ended questions. It was a phone interview. And yeah, like after I don't know how long, I was just like, yeah, this is natural. Like I like hearing people's backstories. So I'm just very curious and inquisitive that way. So it was always interesting. I did Roy Ayers, interviewed him. He is legendary vibraphone he used to play. You can look him up, Roy Ayers. Eric Roberson. Yeah, just some, well-known in the music industry as far as like, well, maybe the underground scene. And then of course local artists as well, who are just starting up and trying to get their name out there, trying to get their music out there. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun. And then it all went to hell in a handbasket because there was mismanagement of funds or misappropriation of funds at the radio station, whoever was heading it up, and all this infighting going on. And then our governmental or our governing body of the communications, the CRTC, is shut the radio down. So that was, they like shut the station down. So that was the end of that. Yeah, again, it's just practice, practice, practice. And also, you just never know what will fall in your lap at any given moment. Even if you had no inkling at all, no interest or apparent interest, you just never know. So yeah, I haven't hosted a radio show since. I've done like, a few TV appearances, based on like, my organizing abilities and that sort of thing. I've hosted some local events, some festivals around the city. So yeah, I'm using the Sephora Micro brow pencil in the color chocolate brown, just to fill in my brows. This is the longest part of my makeup routine, but these brows need to we need brows. So I'm just doing the fine strokes, and I find because I've put the brow gel on first, what's happening with the lighting here? What is happening? Hold, please. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there, but we are back. Yes, brows. We need brows. So yeah, ever since I've been putting the brow gel on first, it's definitely made a difference in my application because my own brow hairs are not moving around. Damn near glued down. But yes, don't worry, I live for the day when I don't even have to do all of this. I'm considering or looking into the nano blading. I saw one content creator mention it. It's different. It's longer lasting than microblading, but I need to see what kind of ink they're using. Is it clean? Is it healthy? You know how we do over here on this channel. We want to keep it clean. I just colored my hair again and cut it too because the dryness in this bloody apartment just really does a number. Almost done with the brows. So yeah, hosted a radio show. I said that I went to fashion design school. I also went to makeup artistry school while we're doing makeup. I went to school in Vancouver. It was like another 8-month or 9-month program. Now, what I will say in the lesson is that I feel like a lot of schools just give you the basics. You have to get into the field to really hone your skills, to really, I feel like you learn way more, to the point where you almost don't even need to go to school, depending on what it is. Look, if you want to be a brain surgeon, you better get your ass in university and all of that. You want to be a rocket scientist? Yes, you need to be going to school for that. But there's a lot of makeup artists that are self-taught. I don't know if there's hairstylists that are self-taught. Maybe. But I just feel when you're actually working in the field, you learn a lot more. I worked for MAC Cosmetics for 2 years, and that was the best training. Best training. You had seasoned trainers. We would have days where we would, all be in a group in some kind of workshop. Things are a lot different now. But yeah. So you don't always need to go to school for everything. A lot of it you can learn on your own. I'm just saying that might be an unpopular opinion, but we know a lot of people who are self-taught and have gone on to do amazing things in the world. So yes, makeup artistry. Okay, I'm going to maybe clean up my brows a little bit. I'm going to take this little flat brush here. I'm taking some of this. Somebody in the comments told me how to pronounce it. Oh, NYX, N-Y-X. Was it NYX? No. How do they pronounce it? Oh, I can't remember. If anybody out there knows, I feel like it wasn't just NYX. Anyway, I just take a little bit off of the top here. I don't, I try not to squeeze any because then I end up with too much on. I just brush the excess off. And we just go under the brows to kind of just clean it up. You do not have to do this unless you're anal about your brows like me. And just sweep it underneath, just so you get it what is the light? Do I need to come in closer? Just so you get a nice clean line. That's how I like my brows. Just as long as your brows aren't too dark for your face. It should be a shade or two lighter than your hair color. Just as long as they don't look like commas, where you got the little bulb right here and then it's just like a thin line. Yes. Because I've said it before, I'll say it again, you could have good groomed, well-groomed brows and just throw on maybe you brush on a little bit of powder, some mascara and lip gloss or a lipstick, and you're out the door. Okay, let's not futz around too much as I pick up my brow again. Brow pencil. Okay, those are brows. I know they look dark and I'm used to them being a little bit lighter, but whew, Lord, just got a good look in the mirror. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna brush these bad boys out. To do that to distribute the color in here. They are thicker than thick. Okay, I'm gonna put on some eyeshadow now. So the only two palettes that I have are this Lawless one, neutral. It's called The Little, talc-free. And then this is the Sephora, my most recent purchase that was only $11. And again, talc-free. So this is more pinky tones. And the Lawless one is more like orangey, rusty tones. Remember, people, remember, talc-free. We want to go for the talc-free. I also just recently found out that the reason I'm not getting the color payoff that I've been trying to get is because these shadows are talc-free. But you know what? I'm good with that. I just have to do like a good base concealer powder. And that's the best that I can do, because we're not putting our health at risk here. Okay? Okay. Next on the list. Did I mention that I started my business as a professional organizer? Yes, I did. Doing closets as well. I kind of transitioned to closets because I just had a bunch of women in like a short period of time that were just calling me and be like, I can't with my closet, it's stressing me out. And I thought it was the perfect way to marry my organizational skills with my love of fashion. I've always been pretty organized. I truly still believe having an organized closet can be life-changing for some. You know, there's nothing worse than being completely stressed out and frazzled before your day has even really begun. Your closet is your first place, like it's where you start your day, it's where you end your day, pretty much. You know, you should be able to get up and get dressed easy breezy, see what you need, see what you have, and not be digging through masses of clothes to find a left foot of a shoe or a certain blouse, and then you find the blouse, and because you weren't mindful and taking care of your things, that you forgot that there was a stain on there, or it is missing a button, or it is wrinkled to the high heavens, and then you have to try to figure something else out. It really just frazzles you, it just stresses you, and then I feel like everything snowballs from there, because now you're running late, and then you're like, oh, did I turn off the iron? So you got to go run back in. Where are my keys? Where's my purse? You know, like you're drinking coffee in the car when you're driving, you spill your car. Just, you know, if you can have an organized closet, it just makes life so much easier. I'm going to go in with this brown color here. I'm going to just wash it all over my eyelid with this kind of fluffy brush. So yeah, I really still love closet organization. Now I'm kind of in the space of wanting to do more of like a conscious closet cleanse to help, you know, women turf the toxic fibers. Oh no. Hold please, battery ran out, shall return. Boy, Spirit does not want me to record this video today, I guess. It's taken me all the live long day. But as I was saying, I'm considering doing a conscious closet cleanse, brown, just to help you get rid of the toxic fibers. You know, I'm the person that, like, I want to work with what you already own. It's not about going out and buying a brand new wardrobe, but getting rid of the toxic fibers, which we know aren't good for our hormones, for our overall health and well-being. Our skin is our largest organ and absorbs whatever we put onto it in less than a minute, whatever it's touching. And if you're going through menopause and you're wondering why you can't sleep, why you got the brain fog and all the symptoms, the toxins. And we talk about beauty toxins, personal care, toxins, that sort of thing. But we have to keep in mind the clothing, especially on your naughty bits, your private parts too. So I'm considering adding that in. Let me know in the comments, like what you think about, is that a worthwhile, service to offer? Of course, we'd still be adding the styling elements in there, giving you a minimal shopping list, because eventually you're going to have to swap out things, but it's not about doing it all at once, unless of course you have budget to do that. But I would be focusing on the things that you wear on the regular, on the daily, swapping those out first, and gradually, you know, your entire closet so that you have a healthy wardrobe. Okay, so I put on some of the brown on the lid, you know, to kind of create my, I guess it's a monochromatic latte effect. Now, for someone like me, I like just going on the lid with like a lighter color. My eyes are already, the skin is already starting to sag. And so I'm going to use this neutral color on my lid to just kind of brighten it a little bit. I'm actually just using my fingertip and dabbing it on just for a little brightness. You do not have to do that. You can leave this as is and you'd get like a bit more of a smoky eye, but you know, I like to kind of add a little brightness onto the eyelid. That's a personal preference. Like that. Okay, time to move it along because we've been chit-chatting. So, yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of, adding in a conscious closet cleanse. Also, like a clean beauty consult where I would help you find beauty products that are safer for you. You know, we're all about living healthy over here, and I know it's hard for a lot of people to give up their favorite items, or maybe people don't think it's, oh, it's not that important. Nah, it's not going to affect me. Oh, it's just like a little bit I'm using. A little bit adds up over time and will build up in your system. And as I said previously, you know, once you hit perimenopause, all the toxins that have been built up in your system, whether you were on, what's the thing? Birth control for years, whether you were on and off antibiotics, you know, all of this stuff will get released into your bloodstream and your brain, thus causing the brain fog and all those other ugly menopause symptoms. So that's why I'm such a big advocate, you know, and preach this stuff so much, because I don't want you to be in a place where something serious happens to your health and it could have been avoided. So if I sound like a broken record, sorry, not sorry. I'm all about here trying to bring, you know, stuff that you can take into your lives if you so choose. I'm going to just add on some mascara. I am using the Mineral Fusion. This is the extended length mascara. So high, extended length. Again, I don't curl my eyebrows. I am, however, looking for a clean lash adhesive. There's actually a Canadian-based company called True Glue, and fun story, I actually interviewed the CEO of the company. She has a couple other businesses, one being a matchmaking one, Lions Elite Matchmaking. But she created actually 10 years ago, 11 years ago, a lash adhesive that is natural, it's vegan, it doesn't have any nasty chemicals in it, because I believe there's like formaldehyde in some of these lash adhesives. A lot of people probably use Duo, and that's what I had used for years. That's what I started using when I worked at MAC, but Duo was like a surgical adhesive, actually. So I haven't worn false lashes in a couple of years, but I feel like I'd like to try again. Now, the only thing with the True Glue is like it's 17, I think there's two different ones I would try, 17 and $21 for a little tube. And the shipping is like $10. So after all is said and done, it's going to be like 40 bucks for a tube of lash glue. And I just don't know. I just don't know if I can do it. I don't know if I can do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So we'll see. I'm going to write them and see if they have anybody local that carries it. There was one Detox Beauty Market that they had on their website, but they don't carry it because I don't see it on their website. But yeah, there's something about lashes that just make your makeup just pow, pop. You know what I mean? But not until we find something clean. Are we going down that road again? I want to keep the lashes that I have. And I feel like when you're wearing lashes day in, day out, you can lose your lashes over time. We're not trying to do that. So I'm doing one coat. I'm going to let that dry. And I'm going to add a little bit of highlight. I'm not going to do blush because that's going to take away from the, you know, latte, mocha kind of look. So I'm going to use a highlighter. Again, it's the Beauty Counter one. I'm going to have to find an alternative though for you all folks. And then I'm actually just using my Sephora brush. It's actually a concealer brush, but I'm using it just to apply this cream highlighter in the bronze shimmer shade. And just going high up on the cheekbones. Now, it goes on better, obviously, if your skin is a little bit warmer. It'll like melt into your skin. And then I'm also going to take some down the bridge, a little bit of the nose. On the tip. And, you know, Cupid toe. Like that. Okay, so you can see it here, my pillows. Okay, next on, something that you'd be surprised to know about me is I've mentioned in probably a couple of videos that, you know, my life is busy. I work a full-time job. I'm trying to still sort out this content creating thing and find time in my schedule to do that, as well as having time for myself, downtime for myself. But I'm also learning a second language, and that language is Italian. I was away for 5 weeks, 3 of which I was in Italy. This was last fall. And I've had an Italian tutor for about 1.5 years, creeping up on 2 years now. We have a lesson once a week online. And now I'm doing it at like 7 o'clock in the morning because of the time difference, because she lives in southern Italy. But yeah, it's been good. I already had a pretty good base of Italian, a decent base before I started with her, but it's nice to have somebody regular. And the reason that I started studying Italian, I'm just using this pencil brush to add the same brown color underneath the eye. When I was living in Vancouver, I decided to take classical vocal lessons. I was very much into singing, and I'd heard that classical vocal lessons were like probably one of the best trainings that you could do. Yes, opera. So I studied for 3.5 years. Now, am I an opera singer? No, but I'm a soprano. Although my voice, I feel, has changed as I've gone through menopause. It's a little deeper now, I feel. But yeah, I started training, and obviously with operas, you're singing arias, and everything you're singing pretty much is in Italian. There are German ones, there are French operas, but I was singing in Italian, and I wanted to learn what I was singing in English. So I've studied on and off in classes, group classes. When I lived in New York, I had a tutor there for a few weeks. And that tutor, he was actually from the Democratic Republic of Congo. He spoke Italian, he spoke English, he spoke French, he spoke Latin. Imagine me struggling along with my Italian. So I've been learning that. I mean, I love the Italian culture. You know, it's fashion, it's food, it's family, you know. So yeah, that's how I trained vocally, even though I went on to sing more like pop music. But yeah, Italian. I mean, learning a language when you're like over 50, that is a challenge, but I definitely recommend it, you know. Whatever country you have an affinity to. Like, I mean, in Canada here, French is our second language. I'm sure there's some Quebecois that would think that it's the first language, but we learned that all through high school, grade 8 to 12. but my Italian is way better than my French. I went to a wedding in Paris last fall and I felt like a fish out of water. Ask me anything in Italian, pretty much, and I could, we could make it work. I had no problems. I spoke Italian when I was there in Italy as best as I could. People understood me. I would be sure to tell people like non parlo fluentemente in italiano, and then I would ask my question. But people were very helpful, and I got by no problem. So this is something where you should, consider stepping out of your comfort zone this year and learning a language or learning a new skill or a new art, in order to, keep your mind going, keep your creativity up, and it's just fun. Highly recommend. Putting a second coat of mascara on, as you can see. Faucet. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and line my water line. I'm going to just use a pencil. If I can find the pencil. And if we can't find the pencil, the black pencil, oh yeah, here we are. Mineral Fusion black pencil. Again, keep everything clean. Now, I've seen some people use powder to line their water line. If you're skilled at it, you just need an angle brush to do that. But I find pencil is much easier. And I think probably the last thing, I'm going to just line a little bit on my upper lash line to kind of create the illusion of a thicker lash since we're not wearing false lashes. 3 addresses in 6 months back in 2020. I was living with a roommate and then she ended my tenancy back in January of 2021. I had to be out. Things, I guess, just got really, this was in a period where I couldn't pay my rent in full. I couldn't pay it on time, all the time, in full. And if you knew what my rent was, you'd be like, girl, if I could just be paying that now. It was like under $1,000. It was not even 600. But it was just a place where I was in life, and the funds weren't there. Sure, it's a little embarrassing kind of talking about it, but I'm just keeping it real and sharing parts of me that are real. And this is how life is sometimes. This is real life. It's not perfect. And I want people out there to know that, because I might see me looking young. You might see me in my nice outfits that I might post and stuff. But we all going through something. And I don't want to come up here and pretend that I have this perfect life, where I'm like raking in the dough and all this and that. No, I'm sharing real stuff here. That was always something that was important to me starting this channel. Okay, so upper lash line lined with pencil, lower waterline done. Excuse me. So yeah, 3 addresses within 6 months. I kind of got the boot from the roommate situation, and then I moved in with somebody who I used to do personal assistant work for her, and I used to look after her cat whenever she traveled. I was often at her place. And then when the first lockdown happened here in Ontario, was in March, and I had moved in 5 days prior to that from the roommate situation. And then the person that I was looking after their cat, they had left on the Thursday to go to Bali, maybe, for a wedding. And they ended up having to come back by Wednesday because you need to get your, back in town because of the lockdown and all of the isolating and all of that jazz started happening. So I had to go and stay with a good friend of mine who was kind enough to open up her home to me for those 2 weeks. Because remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve situation? Yeah. So I stayed with a friend for 2 weeks. And then after the 2 weeks, in between that time, my father had passed away. I had to put the cat down. And then she was like, oh, well, you know, she had a friend who needed a place to stay because the friend's sister and brother-in-law were coming back from some trip and the self-isolation thing, so she couldn't be there. So the friend stayed with this person. And so I ended up staying another 2 weeks. Lipstick, beauty counters, deep espresso pencil, MAC chestnut, although maybe not the cleanest. Another good substitute would be RMS. RMS comes with a lip brush. And then this would be the color. This is a little lighter than what I'm looking for this application. Anyway, so after the 2 weeks, you know, father had passed away. And of course, because we were in lockdown, I couldn't travel and go to the funeral in England because that's where my dad lived at the time. So the friend was like, oh, well, I thought things were good. You know, like, can you, like, this person needs to stay there until, you know, or was going to be there until May. So for another few weeks. So I was just like, you know what? Let me just collect my things. Let me just collect my things. So I moved out of there and ended up staying with the same friend that I was for the first 4 weeks for 4.5 months. So I felt a little displaced. You know, I felt like when you unexpectedly have to move, change living situations, you don't feel settled. You feel like you're in the way a little bit. And you know, like she didn't have a big place. She had a 2-bedroom. And so I was basically sharing her king size bed with her and her 2 pups. You know, it was like a heavy time for me emotionally, but I'm so grateful for her friendship. And the lesson in that is you really know and find out, or you really find out who your friends are when you are in certain situations in life, when you need to lean on people and people kind of abandon, I don't want to say abandon you, but aren't there for you like you were there for them. So yeah, 4.5 months, I was, you know, I'm grateful for that time because that friend that I was staying with, she ended up moving out of province back to where she was born to be closer to her family. So it was nice that I got to spend that time with her, filling in a good portion of the lips. But yeah, child, it was tough until I finally got my apartment, you know, back in August of 2020, my studio apartment where I still am. And, you know, I did get myself settled in. But yeah, you think you know people? Just like I said, you know, you think you know somebody, you don't know them till you live with them. And, you know, you think people are your friends and are going to be there through the thick and thin, and you find out the ones that are not. This is, I feel badly saying this, but it's another Beauty Counter lip balm, but any neutral lip balm will do. So I'm getting the moisture. I forgot to mention though, this lip pencil, you can fill in your entire lip and wear it as a matte lipstick. So that is that. I'm getting some conditioning on the lip. And lining it. So I think that's pretty much it for this look. Sorry if I was chatting your ear off, but I wanted to kind of share the story of me or things about me in a way that I'm actually doing something where you're still kind of like, you know, you're not just sitting there listening to me talk. I'm actually doing something. I'm going to do one last spray. Ilia 3-in-1 mist. This is a setting spray. It is a blue light blocker if you sit in front of a computer, camera, situation all day, and also just a nice refreshing mist. I'm gonna let that dry down. And that is pretty much it. Fresh dew, fresh makeup, nice highlight going on, a little bit of nose contour, neutral lip, and this is the look. So thank you so much for watching. I really wanted you guys to get a sense of who I am, because I feel like just posting content and I'm just like some random person. Like, I really wanted you guys to see who I am, or like, you know, get a good sense of who I am, and just share a little bit more of like what my background is, fashion, beauty, you know. I haven't shared a lot of interior stuff, but I do have like, you know, that is part of my like work background, staging, styling, interior styling, that sort of thing. But the overarching theme is just to live clean, healthy, sustainable. You can dress sustainably without sacrificing your style. I think that is very important. I think I've been doing it for years. Does it mean that I buy or thrift all the time? It does not. There's some things I just can't thrift. So I will try to, at least at the minimum, make sure that it's a natural fiber, still make sure it's going to be in my closet for years to come. Have to love it, 100%. And then just trying to share tips on how I stay healthy, try to maintain my youthful appearance, and all of that good stuff. So drop a comment, let me know, what kind of stuff have you gone through? Like, do you resonate? Did you resonate? Did any of what I said resonate with you? Have you been there? Been there, done that? Not trying to go back there again? Or what? I'm trying to build a community here where, women can share, ask questions. I'm learning from you guys too, so I'm going to be doing a video on things I've learned from you all from the comments. So in any event, that's it. That is all. And as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Now, where am I going in with this makeup? I don't know, probably to my sofa, but I'll see you on the next one.